Hey, what's up, Coin Fam? In today's video, we'll talk about some rare and valuable quarters worth money. Some of these would never be found in circulation, but some of these were actually found in pocket change and sold for huge profit. Be sure to watch the whole video so you can find out how to identify the rare Superbird quarter. Let's get right into it. It's always fun to find a coin with this type of error. This is called an off-center strike. It happens when the coin and the die aren't aligned properly. The higher the percentage off-center, the more valuable the coin is, but condition also plays a big part in the value of the coin. This is a relatively recent error on a 1983 Philadelphia minted quarter. You can tell the quarter was minted in Philadelphia because of the P mint mark to the right of Washington's ponytail. Being able to see the date on an off-center strike is always a good thing. This quarter was submitted for grading and was given a Mint State 64 grade. It sold at auction for far less than it cost for grading. This quarter sold for $3. A coin like this might easily pass as an old, worthless, worn quarter, but it's really a relatively common error coin. This is the 2000 Philadelphia minted Virginia quarter, and it's what's called a struck-through error. Most of the time, when we think of struck-through errors, we might think about a staple imprint or some other metal that came between the die and the coin. But this one is a little bit different. The presses used to mint coins are industrial machines with a lot of metal parts. In order for these machines to function properly, they need a lot of grease. Sometimes the grease comes in between the coin and the die. The grease gets captured in between the two while the planchet is being pressed, and it prevents the detail from being pressed into the coin. You can tell the difference between normal wear and a struck-through grease error because the struck-through coin doesn't show normal wear patterns. Most struck-through grease errors result in much smaller portions of poor detail. The finder of this quarter submitted the coin for grading at Annex. They gave this one a Mint State 61, and this quarter sold at auction for $27. Did you know you can buy a canceled coin die? I bought a few of them off eBay a few years back. This is a canceled quarter die from the San Francisco Mint from 1968. These pictures don't look very impressive, but I have my canceled die displayed in my office with a coin from the year when the die was used. Some of these come with a certificate that gives some additional information about the die, like the reason it was decommissioned and the amount of coins it actually minted. There's no detail that can be seen on the die. They're intentionally damaged to prevent counterfeiting. This coin die sold at auction for $74. Everybody loves the 1976 Bicentennial quarter. These quarters were minted in 1975 and 1976. A lot of people at the time thought they would be valuable collector's items, and a lot of people still do. Unfortunately, they aren't. You may not see them in circulation very often, and a lot of people still hang on to them. Circulated Bicentennial quarters may be valuable one day, but we won't see it in our lifetimes. There were about 1.7 billion of these coins minted between the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and another 11 million in San Francisco. The valuable 1976 quarters will be the ones in very high mint state grades, error coins, and varieties. If you haven't noticed yet, this is one of those valuable varieties. This Bicentennial quarter is what's called a doubled die. During the creation of the die, there was a little rotation of the die in between strikes with the master hub. This created some minor doubling of some of the features of this coin on every single coin that was minted with that doubled die. The doubling is on the head side of the quarter, making this a double die obverse or DDO. You can see the doubling most prominently on the letters of the word Liberty. Just like most coins, the better the condition of the coin, the more valuable it is. This quarter was submitted to PCGS for grading, and it came back Mint State 62. It was also confirmed to be the FS 101 DDO. This Denver minted double die went up for auction at Heritage Auctions, and it sold for $810. There are two valuable varieties of the 2004 Denver minted Wisconsin statehood quarter that you need to know about because they could be worth thousands of dollars. It's believed that a mint worker strategically gouged a couple of dies to create these varieties. This one sold for $2,220 at auction. Here's what you need to look for. This variety happened at the Denver Mint. So you'll only see this variety if you have the D mint mark on the obverse of the quarter. Now take a look at the ear of corn on the reverse. There are 5 distinct parts of the corn husk, as you can see here in the original design. One of the varieties has an extra leaf like this one right here. This is called the extra low leaf variety. There's also an extra high leaf variety that we'll talk about later. This extra low leaf 2004 Denver minted Wisconsin quarter was graded a mint state 67, only 3 grades away from a perfect 70. When the statehood quarters were coming out, my mother would buy a roll from the bank and save them. If you have a relative that may have been collecting these quarters back in 2004, be sure to share this video with them. Here's the other half of a really cool variety that you can find in pocket change if you're lucky enough. Back in 2004, at the U.S. Mint in Denver, it's believed that a mischievous mint worker intentionally gouged the reverse die of a statehood quarter. This altered die went on to create a valuable variety of every 2004 Denver minted Wisconsin quarter it came in contact with. We're talking about the sister of the extra low leaf variety, but this is the extra high leaf variety. You'll only find this on some Denver minted Wisconsin quarters if you're lucky enough. See this corn husk leaf right here? Well, it's not supposed to be here. The original design of the reverse of this quarter is supposed to look like this. And this is the extra high leaf variety. This lucky collector found this very quarter in change early in circulation. It was sent to PCGS for grading and came back a mint state 67. That's a nice grade to have on such a rare variety, and to make things even better, there was only one other mint state 67 in this variety with none in a higher grade. Because of the rare variety, the high grade, and one of the 2 in the finest grade known to exist, this quarter sold at auction for $2,280. How much can a 1995 quarter minted in Philadelphia be worth? This quarter reminds me of my wife. It's fine AF. There's no fancy error, no rare variety, just the highest grade known to exist. Coins that look like this and that are the finest known to exist are very desirable to registry set collectors. These are coin collectors that register their sets of coins through PCGS to come up with the best selection of coins possible. You can learn more about registry sets at www.pcgs.com. This quarter graded a mint state 68. At the time of the sale of this coin, there were only 3 other quarters with this year and mint mark that graded the same, with no quarters graded higher. This near-perfect specimen sold at auction for $3,600. What happens when you come across a prankish mint employee who has a fondness for Superman? You get a rare variety of quarter named the Superbird. Adventures of Superman first aired on September 19, 1952, and it was very popular, so popular that it's believed a mint worker used the punch from an S mint mark to change this mild-mannered eagle to Superbird. Yep, that's an S in the middle of the eagle's breast. You may need some magnification to see this. The Superbird quarter is only known to exist on the 1952 proof quarter. If you have a 1952 proof set, you want to make sure to look for this. It's unlikely for a proof quarter from 1952 to be loose, but that doesn't stop me from checking every one of my 1952 quarters just to make sure. Stranger things have happened. This 1952 quarter was given the Deep Cameo designation. You can't tell from this picture, but Deep Cameo refers to the contrast between the field or the background of the coin and the relief or design of the coin. It graded proof 67 and sold at auction for $5,040. A transition error happens when there's a change to a coin design or the type of planchet used and the wrong design or planchet is used to mint coins. Transition errors are responsible for whams and cams on pennies, the 1943 copper planchet penny, and several other famous errors to include silver planchet errors. Silver quarters were struck through 1964. In 1965, the mint began using the copper nickel clad planchet that we see today. This type of error can be hard to find if you don't know how to tell the difference between the sound and look of a silver coin compared to a clad planchet. The alternative is weighing every coin. This should always be done to verify a wrong planchet error anyway. You can take a look at the video at the end of this one to learn how to identify these differences. This is a 1965 transition error quarter. It was minted on a silver planchet weighing 6.13 grams. It was submitted to NGC for grading, and it came back about uncirculated 55. This error quarter sold at Heritage Auctions for $8,400. Take a look at this 1971 Washington quarter. It's a decent looking coin for being minted in 1971. You can see the toning beginning around the edges of the coin. There's nothing unusual about the obverse of this quarter. The reverse is what makes it valuable. When the die that created the reverse of this quarter was made, the die shifted in between strikes with the hub. This is called a doubled die. You can see that all of the reverse legends are doubled. This particular doubled die is the FS801, and it's very rare. It was featured in the Cherry Picker's Guide. Click on the link at the bottom of this video if you're interested in buying one. At the time of the sale, this was the only DDR FS801 that was certified as uncirculated. For all of these reasons, this quarter sold at Heritage Auctions for over $8,800. In 1982, there were more than 500 million Washington quarters minted in Philadelphia, and this is the only one issued the highest grade known to exist for this coin by PCGS, a mint state 68. MS68 is a really high grade. It's only 2 grades away from a perfect 70. There are very light signs of wear on the front and back of this coin. Finding error coins and rare varieties is great, but nothing compares to a well-struck coin in the highest grade known to exist. This beautiful 1982 Philadelphia minted quarter sold at auction for over $10,000. Here's a fine-looking 1937 Washington quarter. It's in great shape, too. There's not much wear on this coin at all, and the reverse looks just as good. This quarter was the victim of a doubled die. That's not a bad thing, though. If it was, we wouldn't be talking about it, and the previous owner of this double die obverse quarter would have $21,150 less than what he had when this quarter was sold. The doubling on this 90% silver quarter is fairly obvious. Liberty is untouched, but take a look at the "In God We Trust" motto, and on the date as well. A lot of quarter doubling just shows up as split serifs and slivers of doubling on the letters, but this doubling can't be missed. Here's a beautiful looking 1950 Washington quarter. It's so beautiful the cartwheeling was captured when the pictures of the front and back of the coin were taken. This is a 90% silver quarter because it was minted prior to 1964, and it graded mint state 66, only 4 grades below a perfect 70. All of these factors play a part in the value of this coin, but this coin sold for so much more than what those factors are worth. Now let's talk about what really makes this quarter special. Let's take a look at the back of the coin and check out the mint mark. At first glance, it might look like this is a normal D mint mark, indicating that this coin was minted at the Denver Mint. But if you zoom in a little, this mint mark tells a different story. As you get closer, you can start to make out the other mint mark. You can't see much of the S, but under magnification, you can make out the upper loop of the S mint mark. This is a popular error to look for, and you can find more information about it with better pictures in the Cherry Picker's Guide. Because of the condition and the error variety, this quarter sold at Heritage Auctions for $23,000. Look at this old dirty quarter worth money. At first glance, this 1955 Denver minted quarter looks dirty, like it's been around the block a few times. But what you're seeing is natural toning. Take a closer look at the features of Washington. You start to realize there's not much wear on this coin. You'll also notice that there aren't many marks or scratches on the quarter either. This is a really special 1955 D quarter because it's the highest grade known to exist. When you have the top pop coin, collectors will pay good money. This quarter was graded mint state 67 plus, and it sold at auction for over $40,000. Here's a fine looking 1932 Denver minted Washington quarter. This quarter is 90% silver, and it looks really good. You can see a few scratches and some light signs of wear, much less than what you'd expect to see on a quarter so old. This quarter was sent to PCGS for grading, and it came back a mint state 66. A Mint State 66 grade on a quarter issued the very first year of this quarter design. That's impressive, but we're not done yet. This quarter is one of only 3 known to exist in this grade, and the first time this quarter has ever seen an auction, it sold for over $82,000. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching.